Film emulation is a term that's probably been said about 1,000 times on YouTube and well, on the internet in general, and there's a very good reason for that, and it's because everyone wants their films to look like film, like analog film. So recent films like The Fabelmans, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and a TV show called Euphoria, which you might know. Season 2 of that show was shot on film. There were all the films I mentioned are shot on film, and they give a very like nostalgic, warm, vintage vibes to them, and they're very like aesthetic. So yeah, and that is essentially the reason why audiences navigate towards these films the most, is because they have a vintage look, they have a nostalgic look, which is very pleasing to the dopamine receptors in our brains. So until about the 90s to 2000s, all the video material you can ever watch before the 90s was most certainly shot on film, because obviously digital cameras weren't invented then, and that's the only medium we had to shoot video. So home videos were shot on film, movies were shot on film, and like you get the film photos, photography obviously done on film, and they just give a feeling that we can't explain other than like nostalgia and all the words I've mentioned. So there's a certain niche, or well, not niche anymore, but there was a certain niche of filmmakers and colorists and editors that were trying to emulate film, and this brought out the term film emulation, which is basically when try to emulate film with digital cameras. So obviously the sensor of a digital camera and an exposure of analog film are very completely different things, and one of them exposes better for highlights, one of them exposes better for shadows. So there's very like clear differences. Digital films at least are known to be very like clean, where analog has like slight imperfections like halation, bloom, and like obviously the film like grain and the scratches on the film or whatever, and they're all like building blocks into what makes film special, and they're also building blocks into how to emulate film, which I'll get onto later. Color grading on its own is tricky. I struggle with color grading so much. On Premiere Pro, I'm on Premiere Pro primarily. DaVinci Resolve is slightly better, but still I'm not a very good colorist. I have a good eye for what's good and what's not, but getting there for me is very, very tricky. And when you're generally color grading, it's pretty easy. It's just like Premiere Pro, like the basic color correction slides, stuff like that. That's quite easy. But when you get into the nitty gritty of it, the proper color grading, it can get really tricky. And when you try and add specific effects into it, it can get even trickier. So we've established what film emulation is and what color grading is and how tricky it is. So now there's a solution. So obviously I've been asked to promote their brand, and it's Dehancer or Dehancer. Dehancer for Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, Photoshop, Lightroom, and now on iOS as well. So yeah, they're on pretty much all platforms. Yeah, they're on basically all platforms, and what they are is a film emulation plugin, and which works almost in synergy with your digital footage. So when you load your digital footage up in like Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve, you can put Dehancer on, and the effects in the plugin will work with the digital footage and how it's exposed and how it's lit, which is pretty incredible. And if I'm making this sound very confusing, I apologise, but I will show you what I mean, as there is a very good reason why I've showed you the short film that I showed you at the beginning of the video. So yeah, just bear with me. But yeah, so they're a really awesome brand. They have a ton of when you get the plugin, they have a ton of effects and stuff, and you can create like LUTs in their plugin and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just sort of rambling on about them, but yeah, so as you can tell, I like them, and there's a very good reason for that. There's one reason in particular I like them, and it's because they are very, very simple with their system. And all of the effects are literally like the dials. You know, the dials in Lightroom, if you do like photo editing, it's basically a bit like that, but it's all like just buttons and dials and numbers. So that's what I like about them. And again, I'll show you what I mean in the second part of this video, where I show you my editing process with them, with their plugin, But yeah, but put simply, the reason why I'm partnered with them is I personally love their software. I've tried the free version on DaVinci Resolve and on Premiere Pro. Admittedly, it does work a bit better with DaVinci, but I don't know DaVinci at all. I know Premiere Pro, I'm comfortable with that, so I asked them to give me the Premiere Pro version of the software, and they kindly did. So yeah, I truly believe it's the best of the best. There's nothing really like it. You can get the free plugins, and they're good because they're free, and they're good for what they do, and for how much you pay for them, which is, well, nothing if they're free. But yeah, I truly believe that this is a worthy investment if you're looking into an easy color grading / film emulation plugin. So yeah, enough rambling from me. Let's see what we can create. So getting into the editing of this, hopefully you can see both screens clearly. Hopefully there's no bugs within like the footage or whatever. But yeah, so Sony a7 III HDL3 is my camera of choice. This is because my a7R II is the primary camera that I use, and obviously it doesn't have it on here. So if I go to the menu, it doesn't have it on here. So, but that doesn't matter, right? All that matters is that you find a camera setting, pardon me, indigestion, that you find a camera setting that you like and that is going to work with your footage. So that's what I've gone for. Exposure, -8, temperature, gone for a bit of a warmer tint, that's what I like. I felt going for a bluer tint didn't really work, so it didn't really match with the vibe. So yeah, I went for a warmer tint. A quick tip is, go for your instinct in this kind of thing. Go for your instinct, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, try something else. So that's what I did, and it worked. Film developer, contrast boost, 42%, that's all I did, pretty much. It's a contrast boost, and you know, just separating the highlights and the shadows, that's pretty much what contrast is. Film, Kodak Vision 3, and the push-pull I put to -5. I just tweaked it, and that's what it was. I'm gonna get all these up, and it's literally, this is what I meant when I said Dehancer is literally the easiest thing to use. I've literally, right, not what's crazy about this whole situation is I've filmed some stuff, I might put it up on the screen just for laughs, but I've had to reboot everything, and in a matter of minutes I've recreated the exact same look that I just had. That's crazy. So if that doesn't show you the capacity of this software, I don't know what will. So yeah, impact 60%, white point is basically the highlight range, if you will. So that's the impact of it. Close the lead down. I could have just done that. Expand, black point and white point, I just left it, to be honest with you. Don't want to make the PC work too hard now. I need to get a new PC. Print, Kodak Enduro glossy paper. I really like this. The first time I did it, I really liked it. So I've just kept it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Color head, I haven't messed with that actually. I'm not going to because I'm actually quite scared. But yeah, so the color head, it's actually one of my favorite features as well, which kind of makes me a bit depressed. The color head is basically, you can sort out all the colors, the yellows, blues, magenta, green, cyan, red. You can toggle them left to right. It's literally this whole plugin's toggle is like toggling left to right, and seeing what you prefer, and just clicking a bunch of buttons and seeing what you prefer. You can gang them up together as well, the yellow, blue, and magenta, green, cyan, red. You can gang them all up, and then create like one color shift within 3. And then the shadows tone, the midtones tone, the highlights tone is basically, I'll give 1. So midtones, if you want to change the tone of the midtones, you could, and I'll show you. So we'll enable it. So midtones, they have now been changed to yellow or blue. And then if I did the same with the shadows, I change the shadows to blue, they go into more of a bluey tint. So that's what that can do. And film grain. Film grain is basically the defying factor as to whether the film is real or not. And this, I think, gets pretty close. So yeah, film grain is the grain that you see on film. It's like ISO grain on digital cameras, but it's for film. And I've just clicked a preset here. 35mm ISO 250. I don't like the ISO going too high, just because the grain gets a little bit too intense. But yeah, I feel this is a very good, like, finalised bit, and it's just, I literally clicked a preset. This is quite a new feature actually. They've got presets. I don't know how new it is. The presets help a lot. The halation is basically, so you see in the footage you've got my head, and you see behind my head, on the back of my head, you've got this little orange tint thing. That is the difference between harsh shadows and harsh highlights. So that's when they meet, and it creates this orange barricade, essentially, of light, and it's called halation, and that's what happens. So yeah, you've got some halation on the table in the left corner, the right corner, sorry, and yeah, you've got bloom. Bloom is where you've basically got post-production diffusion, so it softens the highlights a lot, and so you get harsh highlights. If I remove the bloom, you just get kind of harsh highlights, kind of flat, and if you soften the highlights by enabling the bloom, so yeah, it makes it look pretty cool, makes it stand out, and yeah, that's what I like about that. Film damage is, well, in old films, like silent films, you would have a lot of film damage because it was, I think it was 8mm film that was the most popular. So film damage is essentially the lines and the scratches and the whatever of that. So 35mm, that's what I've gone for. I think 35mm is the most cinematic. So yeah, the vignette is literally the black, like, circle, the black, like, faded circle around your image or video. You can do a positive vignette, which, that's what that is. Or you can do a negative one, which is just a black circle around the subject. There we go. So yeah, and you can, like, vary the center of it, so it's not, like, in the middle. And the intensity, of course. Film breath is basically, it's literally film breathing in and out. So the colours going in and out, the exposure going in and out a little bit, and it's sort of like movement in the film. Have you ever wondered why, like, old films, again, I'll go back to old films, have looked like they're moving with the subject almost? It's basically film breath. So yeah, my best guess is film, when it's being, you know, rolled, it doesn't fully, like, stay flat and still. It moves around, it jitters, because of the machinery, because of its lightweightness. So yeah, that's my best guess in that. And output, total impact is, well, you can have 100%, or you can have 0%, or you can have 50%, or whatever percentage you want. And it's just that it just displays the amount of impact the plugin has on your footage. So if you want it to run a little bit faster, I would put the total impact at lower. But yeah, so in summary, this is Dehancer, and it's a film emulation plugin. You can get beautiful images like this that you see on the screen right now. And yeah, that's basically it. That's Dehancer. And they also have an iOS app which you can download for free, I believe, right now. I think they have a free version and they have a pro, like, version as well. And it costs a lot of money, I will admit. I don't have that money myself to give away, but what I do have is a little link in the description below which you can click, and it will lead you to buy the plugin. You get 10% off. Yeah, it's just a little thing. Hopefully it helps you out, and hopefully it can influence you to buy the plugin a bit more than just the full price. Yeah, nothing much more to say, really. It's yeah, really good, really easy. Yeah, if you're interested, link in the description. And if you're not, then that's fine. But yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll see you later.